Okay, we are live, baby. Let's get this bad boy up and running. You know, we got a fully decked out. Oh, wait 1 second. There we go. So we are not behind. Welcome to Daily Live number 14. Said I was going to do a daily live, doing a daily live. Said I was going to end the genital mutilation of children. We're working on it, right? So let's go live on Instagram as well. So yes, welcome to Attorney Clopper's 14th Daily Live. We're here to promote Intact Global's upcoming conference. First constitutional litigation. I've been managing that, which is like a full-time job in and of itself, along with, major trial and other cases, but we are making great headway. We're going to have great attendance. We're going to have great speakers. And we've got an epic lawsuit. So this is a historic event that I would highly recommend you attend if you are part of the intactivist movement, right? Part of the movement to protect all children from, protect all children from having parts of their bodies violently ripped off at birth, right? Not cool. Not cool at all. So anyway, we will, we have some people. Ocean Birth, great to see you. Hi, Eric. Hi, Buick. Let's go, baby. Moderator on Discord's, Intact Global's Discord channel. We've got a Celsius, which is keeping me going in the afternoons. Rachel, great to see you again. Love you're consistently joining us. Buick, hey. So as you know, this daily live stream series brought to you by, Attorney Clopper, and we are promoting Intact Global's upcoming conference, March 29 to 31, right? To be concluded with a press conference to announce the filing of our first constitutional lawsuit to end the genital cutting of children on the grounds that it discriminates on the basis of sex to only protect baby girls from this type of harm, right? We only protect girls from genital cutting and not boys, right? I mean, pretty epic. Fire Risers, great name. Love it, baby. People love you. Thanks for joining. Haven't seen your comment yet before. So yeah, we are coming in hot, baby. And it is going to be an epic lawsuit. I've been speaking with a lot of other attorneys, to-be attorneys today about it. Everyone is excited. And the reality is, this is how civil rights movements happen. You just gotta go for it, right? And we've got the infrastructure, we've got the support, and we actually have the attendance, right? Like, had I known we were going to get this many seats by this time, I probably wouldn't have done a live stream every day, only because we're running on empty, but we're gonna cruise through this. We're gonna nail the conference, and then we're gonna nail the trial after. But that is what it is. As Fire Riser said, yes, stop the cutting of children, right? So that's what we're arguing in the state of Oregon. You can probably hear my dog with his squeaky toy, but in the state of Oregon, we are arguing that, look, you've protected baby girls from genital cutting for 25 years at least. And although that's a great thing to do, your constitution doesn't permit you to discriminate what sex you protect, what sex of child. You have to protect all children equally. Pretty easy to understand the argument, pretty concise, compelling, constitutionally coherent, has great alliteration. So we are going to prevail on that. But before we prevail on that, we're going to sue a whole bunch of other states as well. Oscar, love it that you like the channel. John Atkinson, will anyone be able to view the filing before it's filed? I mean, we're not going to publish the lawsuit. A bunch of attorneys who've been working on it have seen it. But yeah, look, it's going to be filed, in 25 days, maybe even sooner. We'll see. So Rachel, dumb question. How does insurance currently cover this? They don't cover many necessary procedures. How did this get by them? Well, a lot of health insurers, it's more of a competitive thing. Like, oh, this insurance covers it, so we got to cover it too. We don't want to lose. Users or subscribers. So it's probably more of a cravenly economic and political decision. It has nothing to do with medical necessity. As Buick says, dominate. Let's go, baby. So that's the thing. If you're joining on YouTube, we love you, or any channel that is. So yeah, John was so as Ocean Birth was saying, this is the clickable link. If you're on YouTube, definitely go there. We're gonna run through the actual what is going on in terms of the conference. There's only 3 founders tickets left. I think 2 or 3 swag bags left. So we're gonna try to if you want your Intact Global swag, right, and your T-shirt and your canvas bag, then you want to get on that, today or tomorrow, right? Because we typically sell a ticket or 2 a day. We're about over 45 attendees at present, and I anticipate we're going to have a lot. And I picked the catering menu yesterday with the event manager at the Sentinel Hotel, and the food is great. The speakers are great. The venue is great. We've got a great room block too if you're traveling in from out of town. And yes, so we have a scholarship. So I connected with one local doula in the area to give her a free ticket to the conference. I think there are others who might have mentioned it as well. But if you're in the birthing industry, you deal with pregnant mothers, we want you to attend the conference free of charge, right? There's going to be a lot of great catering, a lot of great events. It's a beautiful venue. And, it costs about $200 a person to host it. So, yeah, that's a $200 value, let's say, subsidy, because you are in such an important profession and you are in a position to actively protect children from this type of medically unnecessary violence, right? So if you're in the birthing industry, ping me at eric@intactglobal.org. And if you ping me and I didn't respond, I'll look again tomorrow. I'm working 12-hour days, and I'm for many weeks on end. So, I won't be annoyed if you me multiple times. So anyway, this is the clickable link to Intact Global's March 29 to 31 conference. You should absolutely attend if you are in this movement, sympathetic, want to protect children from extreme harm and trauma at birth. So and you can also get to it by going to intact.global/conference. This might be a little easier to type in. I don't know if it's clickable. Somebody can tell me if it is or not. But this link right here, intact.global/conference. And if you put that in the search bar, what you get is, let's see, intact.global/conference, enter. You are going to see what is going on in Portland, Oregon at that time. So let's see, share screen. Here we go. Bam. And, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to put them in the chat, and I will answer the questions I can. But here we have, this is the page to get your tickets, right? The tickets are on sale now. It's our Intact Global conference, our inaugural conference, to be concluded with constitutional litigation. It's going to be March 29 to 31 in 2025. So that's in 23 days. We start in Portland, Oregon. And this is going to be a historic conference because it's going to end in our first constitutional challenge to male genital cutting, as mentioned earlier on the stream and in the last 13 streams every single day, right? We're going to unveil our plan as to, okay, how are we going to end the genital cutting of children in the immediate future? Not in 5 or 10 years, but in 1 to 3 years, right? And that really kind of depends how much support are we going to get on, social media. We get 100 people donating $100 a month, that's going to go a very long way. We could have full admin support and staff, and then we just have the lawyers who are focused on suing various different states, right? And it looks like John Atkinson, they just had a GalDef board meeting a little bit ago. Everyone's looking forward to this. I'm super stoked to hear. We're very happy to host all of the GalDef board members and other members who are able to join this event. Again, we are all on the same team, and part of this is to to, let's say, form the Intact Coalition, which is not owned by any particular nonprofit. We're all in this together. We come from many different political beliefs, religious and social and socioeconomic backgrounds, but we're all united in protecting children from, a form of aggressive harm at birth, like really shocking and egregious sexual trauma and abuse, which is like really hard to believe that it's actually gotten this far. I'm talking about circumcision in 2025. I think what is it, 12 or 13 letter euphemism, right, for genital mutilation. So anyway, that's going to be epic. And yeah, we'll talk about a program that, okay, how does everyone get involved, right? You could donate $100 a month. You could, if let's say you're a graphic designer, you can work on ads. Let's say you're a consultant, we got a great consultant, boots on the ground, who's organizing various different people to do the ads, to do the promotions. Like everyone has something else that they can contribute. Paul, great for joining. Thanks for joining the channel. So again, intact.global/conference. Let's say you're here, you want to get your tickets. You're available March 29 to 31. Go here, buy early bird tickets right here. And when you click that link, you're going to go to Ticket Tailor, right? That is the website that manages our ticket sales. And, the lawsuit announcement, that's free. The swag bag conference, get one, maybe get two if you're coming with two people. And we only have 3 tickets left for the founders dinner, right? So if you can swing it, it's $300, which, half of that's a donation. The other half really covers the dinner, right? And so anyway, and then once you get your ticket, click next, fill in your name, your email, your payment, whatever, and you got it. And, you guys, I'm sure have bought a million things online, like all of us have, pretty easy. And I appreciate you, Jay Will. Eric is pretty good looking. That's what's important, folks, is really the aesthetic appeal of whoever you're listening to, right? So anyway, but seriously, what's important is that we protect children from genital mutilation. That's what we're here to do. And so if you're passionate about this, as you should be, and you're not just here for the good looks and the vibes, definitely get your ticket here, right? Intact.global/conference. Get your early bird ticket. And then if you're traveling from out of town, you can get your discounted room. So here, it's going to be at the Sentinel Hotel, which is a luxury hotel. It's a very nice hotel, but we have a room block, which brings that price down $40 a night, down to like the Marriott Hilton level. And so if you click on this right here, you can see the highlight. You click on book discounted rooms, right? And then you're going to come to this tab, and then you could put whatever nights you have. It looks like this is, I've had some, let's see, is this, yeah. So the reality is there's huge problems with this, literally like the last day for like, I don't know, a week or longer, it hasn't been working. So anyway, but what's most important is get your ticket. There are other places to stay. And on Monday, March 31st, we're going to be announcing the constitutional lawsuit in the Courtyard Square. This is pictures. We'll have our permit there, right? Which they've already charged us for. And that's the square that we'll host our press conference in. And this is the actual conference, right? The Sentinel Hotel. Very nice place. Got some, I'll answer some of your comments in a second. So this is the Sentinel. It's a very classy hotel. And here are some of the Sentinel rooms to kind of give you a sense. I got an airplane from Los Angeles to Portland, Oregon, and checked out 10 different venues between December 18th and 21 with my lead videographer, who I had a 40-minute call with today to manage logistics. And he's working with the AV guy at the Sentinel. And my other, and then I got three professional videographers and professional live streamer, Ocean Birth, talking about you, who are going to be there to make content. So it's going to be a content mine. But if this is a cause that you're really passionate about, you want to be there in person, because that's where you're going to get. We're going to synchronize our clocks, have strategy sessions, listen to presentations, get to know people. I mean, me attending Intact America's 2022 symposium, August of 2022 in Atlanta, Georgia, was extremely important, right? And really helped me make important connections that enabled to get Intact Global off the ground and us moving. So, if you're really serious about moving this forward, this is an event you got to make. I know it costs some money. We kept the tickets as cheap as we conceivably could make them. At the same time, if you're really passionate about this, it's worth shelling out whatever it is, a few $100 to make it, because this is the event, right? This is the best plan that we have as a movement to immediately endanger the genital mutilation of children, right? We are hitting it where it hurts, at the bottom of the foundation, the legal foundation. It just straight up violates the Constitution. Equal protection on the basis of sex straight up violates that, to only protect baby girls. And it's so obviously correct too, that argument. It's like, why do we only protect baby girls from having parts of their genitals cut off? And the answer is, well, tradition, right? Traditionally, we've mutilated males for longer, so we're going to continue doing so. But that is not a compelling legal argument. And many things that were traditional now are unlawful and obviously recognized as unjust, right, and cruel. And so anyway, as Young God says, being ugly does not help. 100% excited to watch the footage from the conference. Will it be live streamed? Yes, it will be live streamed. Listening to these lives gives me so much hope we're going to end routine male genital mutilation. Well, I am happy that it does. We are definitely going to be live streaming the entire conference, right? We're also going to be live streaming. I'll be live streaming more routinely, probably not every day, or definitely not every day after the conference, because I got a major trial coming right up after that. However, live streams will be more common. We'll have people on the live streams as well. But what really matters is that we start really shaking the foundations here, and we're gonna, with Intact Global's coordination, with the Intact Coalition of the other nonprofits. We're talking GalDef, we're talking Intaction, we're talking Doctors Opposing Circumcision. I spoke with their executive director today as well. We're gonna take some big swings at this, right? And the federal administration has talked about defunding circumcision 3 times in the last 2 or 3 weeks. So, we are really in striking zone here. And as a single issue voter at present, I'm going to take advantage. With crisis comes opportunity, baby. Right? I would never have owned my own successful law firm if Harvard hadn't excommunicated me for the heresy of being opposed to the genital mutilation of infants. So, Katie, yeah, glad you're happy about the live stream. So again, going back to, if you go to intact.global/conference, the general admission, that's the March 29, March 30. That's the weekend, the last weekend in March. That is, that's where we're going to have leading lawyers, activists, and thought leaders for 2 full days of presentations, networking, strategy sessions. It's going to be at Portland's storied Sentinel Hotel, not a chain, beautiful location. I kind of showed these pictures a little earlier, but there's a reason we picked it. It looks good. It feels good. It is good. That's the founders dinner picture we'll get to in a second. And the next 2 or 3 people who get a ticket, because again, we're just about out of swag bags. We've sold all of them, with the exception of 2 or 3. You'll get your hat, you get your Intact Global t-shirt, which I'm not wearing, and then your canvas bag, which I have over there. If anyone wants to see it, I'll put it up on the screen, but you can just take my word for it. It's a solid bag. It could be a gym bag, a grocery bag, you name it. It's like a backpack too, very sturdy. But anyway, you can be fully decked out in Intact Global attire if you are one of the next 3 people who buys an early bird ticket, because we're about to sell out of those, which we'll probably still keep the ticket price at $200, but you just won't get the swag unless someone else doesn't want their swag bag, in which case it'll be whoever was next in line. But here is the lineup. So we're going to have, and also I know the catering too, because I dealt with the caterer yesterday, but we're going to start Saturday morning at 8 a.m. Right. Well, that's when we open the doors and get some coffee. Me, a bunch of people will be there, say hello to new friends and old friends. And then at 10 a.m., I will give the first talk saying, okay, well, this is where intactivism was, but where are we going? What is the future of intactivism? We're going to make it cool, assumed normal, certainly mainstream. This is going to be a huge, huge, huge international human rights movement that removes humanity from the child sacrifice timeline, and we're going to do it quickly. So I'll just give a brief overview. Joe McCormick, Intact Global's treasurer, is going to talk about, okay, well, how are we going to fund this, right? Because like I mentioned on many streams, circumcision is a billion, if not multi-billion-dollar a year industry. And you don't make money from not performing procedures on infants, right? So although we are totally asymmetric morally, in terms of the opposition mutilates infants for profits and we want to protect children from harm, we don't have the $1 billion behind us churning out this, genital harvesting flesh industry. So how do we stop it? Well, we're not going to need billions of dollars, but we'll probably need 1 million, maybe millions. And that sounds like a lot, but Intact Global just raised their 30K GoFundMe as of yesterday. So thank you, donor who gave $5,007, right? Don't forget that 7 to get us over the line. And that donor will be there as well. So, you want to meet the heavyweights, those people who can really throw resources behind this, which is, even $100 a month goes a long way. And as John Atkins says, not to mention the money for cosmetics, lubes, and Viagra, right? Because there's a whole cottage industry that results from cutting off important parts of the genitals of men. Joe McCormick is going to talk about, what are the fundraising strategies? How are we going to do this? Oh, Arikia, I hope you're still here. Nikki, hello, and Hannah, great to see you. My StreamYard doesn't link to Instagram, so that's separate. But yeah, that's the plan, Arikia. We're going to sue Oregon, and then we're going to sue as many other states as we have funding to do, which, could be a boatload if the internet rallies behind this effort, which you should, because it is the perfect movement for the internet, right? Because it's really intimate and personal and like horrific, but it takes a lot to go out and be like, I'm going to do this. Now, obviously I'm committed to doing this and I've already done that, but I understand and also there can be professional ramifications as well. As Ajaya said, I watched your video that you made at the university a long time ago. Love that video. Where else can I watch this? The conference that I'm talking about will be live streamed, probably on my YouTube channel. We'll try to get it on Intact Global's as well. We're going to run a live donation stream to Intact Global to fund not just the Oregon litigation, but all subsequent litigation as well. The next talk after the treasurer of Intact Global, we're going to have Shay Johnson talking about growing the Intact Coalition. There's definitely been movements that have united people from radically different backgrounds and beliefs and political sides of the political spectrum. Shay talks about a good example in Chicago about labor and employee rights, from everyone from not the highest socioeconomic status, but, let's say the working class. I'm using Boston, like Irish, I don't know, but like and the African American and the Asian community, and even like the communities that you might not say, oh, we want your support, but they're supporting it and getting behind it. And they got behind it because everyone, they decided that employees should have certain rights, right? Well, I think it's even more fundamental that children should have certain rights. I think that is a not just bipartisan, but nonpartisan issue, right? And Shay's going to talk about that. And then Will, another great board member and friend of mine, he's going to talk about, okay, well, what does that act like? What are the mechanics of recruiting individuals who are willing to help, right? Like in terms of what websites do we submit to? How do we direct people with these high value skills into moving this forward, right? Because a lot of what we do is done on a pro bono or greatly discounted rate. Right, we are not paying market rates for the legal work we've done in Oregon. And when you read this complaint, you can be like, whoa, right? Hundreds of very skilled hours of legal manpower have gone into crafting these arguments, right? And the formidable amount of research, scientific, legal, ethical research that's gone into. I mean, it is a totally monolithically in support of not mutilating your infant at birth, right? There's a bunch of comments. Yes, please make sure that you're subscribed to my channel, specifically YouTube, but any channel that you're watching on, definitely subscribe. And then we also have, I should say, sorry, I'm losing it over here. Yes, I mentioned your comment, John, earlier. Paul S., your sub, that's because you're the man. Are there countries besides South Africa that got restrictions on circumcisions? There are. I can't name them all off the top of my head, but there's a fair number who kind of restricted, except like, it's kind of like you have to get vaxxed unless you have a religious exemption, but everyone gets one. I could be wrong about this, but I think Ireland has like no cosmetic circumcisions before 18 or whatever. Brandon Smith, how do you feel about Christianity? Well, look, Brandon, good to see you. I'm a single issue voter, right? And Jesus, our man Jesus, said you should not circumcise your child. So even though he was circumcised, he explicitly stated, look, you don't need to be circumcised in the flesh. You can be circumcised in the heart. What does that mean? It means don't cut off your penis skin, right? And why would he say that? Well, it's a lot harder to get people to, let's say, sign up for your religion if they have to cut off a big part of their penis, right? And that's why Christianity is a lot more popular than Judaism. Well, at least that's one of the reasons. As Bjork says, very few, not sure what that was in reference to, but going back to the actual conference agenda. So if you see right here, a few more comments. That being 43, shared the conference link with my registered nurse aunt who has a PhD in midwifery. She's sharing it with her coworkers too. Epic. Thank you. That being 43, you are a hero. I hope she reaches out to me at eric@intactglobal.org or the organization, and we'll make sure that she gets a free ticket if she can make it. Yes, thank you. So anyway, going back to the conference, so we have the four or five board members. The fifth board member, unfortunately, is called to duty on the other side of the country at that time. Then we're going to have a panel. You can ask us, okay, Intact Global, what's your plan? What are you doing? How are we going to do this? Then we're going to break for lunch. We've got great lunch. You got three options. You've got a chicken dish, a salmon dish, and an acorn squash vegetarian/vegan dish. They all look great. I'm going to get the salmon, but get whatever floats your boat. Next is going to be Tony. Carter's going to be there, but he's not going to be giving a talk. Tony, great news today. He is the director of Intaction, part of the Intact Coalition, and they got New Hampshire to agree, the House to agree to defund circumcision from state Medicaid, right? That means circumcision rates are going to plummet in New Hampshire. Now, the issue is I think there's two houses that need to approve a bill, and then the governor signs off on it. I believe that's how it works in New Hampshire, like the federal government. I mean, and then you get super majorities, which might change the process a little. But the House voted in approval, and now the Senate needs to vote in approval, and then we should be good. So great news in New Hampshire, as Oceanbirth says. Bravo, Tony, and everyone who worked very hard. And there's a lot of people who worked hard on this. I know Peter Adler submitted great testimony too, in person, and will be testifying in front of the Senate. I wrote some written testimony that they mentioned during the committee hearing, which had passed the committee. And then also, so he's going to give a talk right after lunch on Saturday. Tim Hammond will then be giving a talk. Okay, what's GalDef do, and how is it different and complementary and the same as Intact Global? Where's the overlap? Where's the difference, right? Because we're at Intact Global really focused on these equal protection challenges. And GalDef has a broader scope of litigation that they support. John Geishiker, who I spoke with today, has a great initiative that I'm looking forward to hearing about. I mean, I've spoken with him about, and I know what it's about, but he's not ready to release it publicly until then. Michael Abanika, I've spoken with him. I've hosted him in my home in LA. And he is a brilliant human rights attorney. He's from Uganda, but he's got a network of human rights attorneys and activists in Africa. And we want to build that, inter-Atlantic coalition, right? Like we want to work together, not just in different states, but in different nations, right? We're all here to protect children from this type of harm. And I think there's going to be a lot of synergy there. And then we'll have a panel of the Intact Coalition members. So Tim, John, Michael, Tony. And that's going to be Saturday, right? Oh, we've got a dinner, right? The dinner was more expensive, but I sprung for it because I thought you guys would be hungry. It's a great spread. And I think you guys are really going to like it. So anyway, and as Jay Will says, Jesus is based. You can, anyway, Sunday, we're going to start again at 8 a.m. We'll open the doors. You can network, say hi to everybody. And then we're going to kick off. I think I know who might talk at 10 a.m. A good friend of mine who I was able to arrange his accommodations, but I'm not ready to announce that yet. And then we have Zena's Bar, who did very similar litigation in the 90s. And as much as we commend Zenas for his efforts, I think 30 years ago, the United States was not ready to confront its addiction to mutilating infants, right? I mean, it was just not ready to do it. There wasn't enough information. There wasn't enough. So although there was great organizations and activists, including Zenas and others, we just weren't ready to do it. So Zena's going to talk about lessons learned, where we're going to go from there. Peter Adler is going to talk about the different causes of action that you may have if you were circumcised, right? And when the statute of limitations begins tolling, or like when it starts counting, when you have to sue or you lose your claim. And the reality is, there's a lot of people with a lot of claims if you were circumcised, because it's total aberration in law and medicine to perform medically unnecessary surgeries that harm the individual, right, and enrich the patient. You got constructive fraud, breach of fiduciary duty, battery. You might have you might be able to sue as a taxpayer for wasting Medicaid dollars, right? There's a lot of different avenues of attack here, and Peter Adler is going to talk about them. And obviously one of them is constitutional equal protection, which we'll be filing. Easy link to the conference by clicking here, as Oceanburst says. So try clicking on that link if you're on YouTube. And then we're going to have Brad Kane, who taught me how to litigate in Los Angeles. And he'll talk about, let's say, what is the messaging of the movement, right? How are we, how should we say, what is a winning message? And the winning message might not be you're mutilating your infant and you're a terrible person and you just got to stop doing it because blah, blah, blah. Yes, it is definitely can accurately be defined as genital mutilation, but it might not be something that that resonates widestream with the mushy middle who doesn't have strong feelings on this either way. And so, we think maybe the messaging is we want to protect all children equally, right? That is definitely something that might be more palatable and popular with the mushy middle. And so Brad will talk about messaging. Then we have Deborah Shagian, who also, so both Brad, Deborah, and me, we all run civil litigation firms in Los Angeles. And Deborah grew up in a conservative Jewish household, so, more Jewish than me, was certainly, more adherent to dogma and Orthodox nonsense. But anyway, she grew up and, there's definitely great things about the Jewish culture, but one of them is not the ritual mutilation of children, right? That's not one of the good things. So she grew up in really steeped in that in the LA community. And, she didn't think very much about circumcision. I used to think it was good and positive because I grew up Jewish too, right? Jewish and American, until, intelligence might be the ability to learn, but wisdom is the ability to unlearn, right? And so it was unlearning, I should say, the fact that what they told you, or what was implied by your culture that it was healthy to circumcise, is that it's actually not. And so Deborah, as an adult, learned, oh my God, we are ritually and habitually harming, severely maiming our Jewish babies from this ritual, and we need to stop it. And when she brought this issue up, some people agreed with her in her community. Some people looked like she had two heads, another head growing out of her shoulders. So she's going to talk about the dangers of cultural conditioning, right? It's not just theoretical. It's like literally there's blood on their hands as they are mutilating infants, right? And if you're part of the extreme orthodoxy, they're literally sucking the babies after they mutilate them. And, the reality is you get kicked out of your professional career saying this, but you literally should be going to jail if you're mutilating babies and sucking on their penises, right? That's not a wild statement. It is not out of left field. And it's just totally nuts that someone even has to fight this. But look, I'm committed. Don't get me wrong. I'm all fucking in. Right? So anyway, Deborah will talk about dangerous cultural conditioning. John Silla, who's a leader of American Institute of Bisexuality, another 501c3, will talk about, what was effective in that movement, right? Because probably certainly 2 generations ago, 1% of people identified as bi, and bi erasure used to be big in the LGBTQT community. And then nowadays, Gen Z, about 23%, according to a recent YouGov poll, identify as bi. And considering sexuality is on a spectrum, it's not, unreasonable to think that over 1 in 5 are not just on the extreme ends of the spectrum, right? That's just not plausible. So anyway, and then we'll do a panel of all the lawyers who will be litigating this and opining on this. And then I'll do a final talk before we have our founders dinner, which is going to be at Multnoma's Whiskey Lounge. There's only 3 tickets left, 1, 2, 3 out of 22. So if you're really committed to this and you can swing it, definitely join the founders dinner. This is Sunday evening. It's a 3-course seated dinner, exclusive conversation. We're going to celebrate the progress of the movement. And here is the venue. It's actually beautiful, the Multnomah Whiskey Lounge. And this is the particular room that we rented out, but this is the whole Whiskey Lounge. It's going to be a cool event, right? And it's the last event prior to the Monday press conference, which is going to be held here. So remember, get your ticket, get here, you go to Ticket Taylor, get your ticket again. There's only about, 2 or 3 swag bags left, and there's only 3 founders dinners left. And so that is what we have in store, March 29 to 31. And 31 is the big press conference, the filing. We start the fight now. And although we start it now, we're certainly going to, it's going to take at minimum, a couple years, but we might get the federal government's attention immediately, right? If not, certainly after we file the second one, which could be 1, 2, 3 months later. We need more plaintiffs to submit in Intact Global's plaintiff submission form as well. At some point, I will probably start scheduling my lives in advance after the conference, right? And they'll be less frequent, only because I'm working a little more than is, and by a little, I mean a lot more than is healthy and sustainable. But we're going to get through this conference. I'm going to get through my $20 million trial, and then we are going to sue every state in the union on constitutional equal protection grounds, right? That's really the plan. There's no lack of ambition here. So going through a few comments before we wrap up. Is circumcision unorthodox in the Islamic religion? Since Jesus said it wasn't required, and Islam supports Jesus as a prophet. I don't know. I think if you ask some Muslims, they're not going to agree with you on that. I mean, anyway, circumcision isn't mentioned in the Quran. It's mentioned in additional texts. But they're just addicted to mutilating their infants. I mean, what do you want me to say? Obviously we have some great Muslim intactivists as well, but the Muslims are the largest baby and minor mutilating group on the planet, and then Americans are second, and then and then probably Jews, right? And if you look at the number of violent conflicts, there's a huge overlap. So maybe if you mutilate someone's sex organ at birth, they might be more violent as an adult. That's totally a plausible theory that will get you kicked out of universities if you study it, right? Maybe in America. So anyway. Neil Benny, great to see you. As Ajaya says, when I found out, I was so mad. Neil in Manhattan. Oh, I'm stoked to see that you bought your ticket. But yeah, going through some comments. Jake, I kind of see it in a different lens. These people remove enough flesh where it causes death. That seems way too intentional. I'm not sure what you mean by these people. As young God, scandalous, big if true. No, Muhammad missed it, but he seems only to feel cleanliness is next to godliness. Buick, we're not going to double check these citations right now, nor are we going to check that one. Then it is not mandated by the Islamic religion. Is circumcision in the Hadith, Sunnah, or Bukhari? That's a great question. I've definitely read about it. I've definitely heard it. I do not remember off the top of my head. Someone thinks it's the Hadith. I'm guessing that I don't have a huge Muslim following. I could be wrong, but I'm just going out on a limb there. So if anyone knows any live streamers, let me know. Not sure about the others. I interviewed a Muslim midwife who had no circ in her prenup. Well, that's epic. She sounds pretty base, not going to lie. I did convince Muslim women I went to high school with to agree that circumcision should be banned. Great job, Jay Will. Yes, the Philippines has a high circumcision rate. So does North Korea. There's a bunch of American GIs who were circumcising. They introduced it to South Korea. And then, it was probably 75% or higher. Now it's probably closer to 20%, right? The South Koreans, I keep saying that. The South Koreans moved away from circumcision after American influence. So yeah, it was almost a decade ago that you convinced that Muslim colleague in high school. Great job. So anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. I've got another work call soon, but it was great to see you all for the 14th day in the row. Again, get your ticket to March 29, 31 Intact Global Conference. We've already got great numbers. I'm like really, really pleased at the number of people and attendees we have on March 6th, 23 days before the conference. If I was attending a conference, I would probably buy a ticket like 2 weeks in advance. So the fact that we 23 days in advance already have enough to have a very successful conference is epic. So thank you all. But definitely get your ticket because there's only 3 founders dinners left. There's only 2 or 3 swag bags left. And yeah, it's going to be a historic moment. And it's going to lead to many more historic moments. This is the beginning of our, real serious effort to end the genital mutilation of children. So again, here's the link. By the link, you should be able to click it, especially if you're on YouTube. As Buick says, join the Intact Global Discord. Get your ticket today. Vegan Atheist, thanks for coming by. Thanks for coming, everybody. As your last act today on the stream, get your ticket, click on this link, and I look forward to meeting you at the March 29 to 31 Intact Global Conference. So everyone, great to see you. I will see you tomorrow. Not sure exactly what time. Mark Brigham, you have a great day as well. Buy your ticket, guys. I appreciate that. My effort is appreciated. We're going to actually do this, and we're going to do it soon. So anyway, have a great night, everybody, and thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you tomorrow.